if you weren't doing the TikTok thing, Dylan, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it was like a nonstop. Everyone for a year was screaming on behalf of the Palestinians, people who never cared before. And then as soon as it came down to Kamala and Donald Trump, they were picking sides. And me myself, I'm like, how do you pick a side? How do you go with either one?
Yeah, I was not on TikTok, so I didn't see all of that discourse. I think like, it's hard for a lot of people. You get taught all the time that it's a lesser of two evils choice, and philosophically, that's not untrue. I mean, you choose the side that's going to cause the least amount of harm if you want to make that choice. Some people don't want to make that choice. You always put in Jean-Luc Picard
Yeah.
or some fictional character. But if somebody believes that voting is about making sure the least harm is done, they're going to choose even if it's two people who they think are awful. Um, that's just how it is. Yeah, there wasn't much of a difference between Harris and Trump on Gaza. Um, I think there's probably differences on the margin, but nothing functional that'll save any Palestinian lives at the end of the day. Um, but I do understand the disillusionment with the whole thing. It's a very easy way to it's easy to become cynical when that's what you see all day and then you see everyone turn on a dime.
Yeah. Were you surprised when Trump got it?
No,
No. What do you think
no.
about what like every day now? Like, where are you getting your news from now, or are you checked out?
I haven't fully checked out. I've probably 90% checked out. I still read the news. I follow certain journalists on Twitter. I'll read their articles, but mostly just the Twitter news feed.
Yeah.
I've largely checked out of like
Yeah.
predictions and podcasting on the subject. It's just I don't see the point.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't want you and I to get back into it because I'm checked out.
No.
I did want to scrape over the top of why the fuck I checked out because it's like at this point, it here's like with the TikTok thing, and then we'll move on to other shit. But like, what do you remember? Like when we first got together, we were talking about the alternative media and how the alternative
Yes.
media was an echo chamber of
Hmm.
people who think that I don't know they're qualified to I don't know be thought leaders because they have an internet connection. You know,
And they have all these theories that they can't prove, uh, but they repeat with absolute certainty. And then when the thing happens, they're like, "Oh wait, no, that's good now."
right, right, right. And, and we're talking about a dinosaur age. Nobody even knows who the fuck those people are anymore. A lot, if you say Alex Jones, people know that. But then all the C tier alternative media people who were doing politics. Well, you take that environment, all right, to give you an idea, and put it on steroids, and then make it drop acid, and that's what's going on TikTok right now. Okay, it is it's an endless supply of little miniature alternative media hosts who have phones. Do you remember Max Kaiser? Did you ever listen to Max Kaiser? He was like a trends
No.
forecaster or an economist or some shit. And I used to listen to Max Kaiser like back in 2001, and he would talk about how the end of America was basically going to look like a casino gulag, right? And I used to wonder about that. This is in the early 2000s, like a casino gulag. What does he mean by that? And he was trying to. He really could see far into the future. Um, he was talking about online games and online economy, and then what would ultimately become crypto, right? And that people would become addicted to a type of video game where dopamine was the currency, and it would become a gulag, and then that would be the end of America as we know it, right? The casino gulag. And it took until now for me to really see what he was looking into the future is like have you ever been to a casino?
I've walked through one to get to some place, but I've never like stayed there
Yeah. I went to
to do
Atlantic City for a
anything.
while and kind of looked at it, and I saw, I know that they have all kinds of tricks to keep people pulling, touching the jack, what do you call those things? The slot machines. It's like a
Yeah.
dopamine feedback, keep them addicted to it. And
Hmm.
if you've ever been around like people, tweakers, we got a lot of tweakers down here in Georgia who crystal meth, and they'll go to these gas stations where they have these little digital casino slot machines, and they'll sit there and do that shit all night long, right? And it's a dopamine feedback thing because they're tripping balls on crystal meth. Well, now I get what Max Kaiser was talking about, because as I've started to look at the TikTok and all of these radiated miniature alternative talk show hosts who are in TikTok, it's a culture in there, because in every social media platform or any platform period, people think that that's the universe, right? That's where
Right.
that's it. And if you're not somebody here, you're nobody, right? Well, the way that TikTok has it set up is, obviously, the more followers you get, the more views, the more interaction. They have this tiered shit to where you can start allegedly making money making TikToks, just staring into your phone saying stupid shit. And
Right.
and then they get people, they incentivize people to talk about issues that are trending, right? In
Right.
order to
Yeah.
just perpetuate. And then,
Yeah. The algorithm feeds on itself.
oh my God. So you take that, okay, so you take that formula, all right, of, hey, if you run your mouth enough and repeat enough and post enough and just keep putting useless, diluted, mindless shit up, you might make some money. And imagine giving that to the alternative talk show people, and now millions of them. And that's what you have inside of TikTok, right? And
Yeah.
so,
But I don't think any of the people who were around 4 years ago when we talked about them have made that transition.
no, I
Or at
haven't.
least not many, I would suspect.
No. They're probably abrasive to it.
They might have just finally gotten YouTube channels.
Eventually, yeah, rather than dropping MP3s on sermonaudio.com or whatever.
Yes.
But no, man. And so, like, that's what's going on in that thing. And I watched it, and I've been watching it since the election, and like every single fucking day. Like, the good thing about it is you can get news pretty quick, right? News spreads
Hmm.
pretty quick.
And
But
that's why I use Twitter still.
still, well, I use Twitter for other shit, but not for the news. But like with TikTok, the news can spread pretty quick. Like, for example, look, we're in an authoritarian fascist state. No bones about it. Okay.
Yeah.
You got troops in the street in DC. There's supposed to be 19 other states that he's sending troops to. Now they're
You
armed.
got the militarization of the border, uh, immigration agents wearing masks, rounding people up without badges, a Palantir surveillance state,
Right.
uh, a camp in America built to house people.
And it's getting worse. And what was the other thing? Mentally ill and homeless people are now, they can forcibly commit them and take them to detention centers. And it's like every single day, the craziest shit is in the headlines, and it's getting crazier and crazier, right? It's bad. I mean, it's just like, Jesus Christ. I expect tomorrow to look at the news and see him signing an executive order that it's okay to eat babies, if as long as they're, I don't know, MAGA approved or some shit.
Yeah,
And he keeps pushing it further and further, or the system. And then the thing with TikTok is everybody's making TikToks about it, right? They're all complaining about it. They're all bitching about it. They're all, guys, breaking news. And it's become this feedback loop. And at some point, I dropped it, and I'm like, well, maybe if we keep fucking making TikToks about it.
exactly.
And then it clicked, and I said, this is the casino gulag that Max Kaiser was talking about. We are committing civilizational suicide to post fucking TikToks about the collapse of everything. And if, I'm sitting here like, if the people don't give a fuck to do something other than post trending TikTok so they can hawk shit in the TikTok shop, why should I give a fuck anymore about raising my voice to say, you know what I mean?
I get it.
That's the end of this clip, but the full episode is waiting for you. Subscribe to the Downloaded Content Podcast on Spotify or watch on YouTube. For more behind-the-scenes content and exclusive access, sign up for the Downloaded Content newsletter. And while you're at it, pick up Then Came the Flood by Daniel Louis Crumpton, available now wherever books are sold.